so much light, daylight, all the time. And on the sunny days, you almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That surprised you, Grace?
It was a factory. I thought it'd be dark and dirty.
Then, why go work there?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it so much. The girls were all so nice and work wasn't that hard. It wasn't factory work, really. It was more like art painting those styles. We were artists.
I'm not the one you should be talking to. That's shocking. He's the one you should talk to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't talk to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about that process, Arthur. You used a powder?
We used a powder. The girls mixed it with an adhesive to make the paint. And that business with the brushes, I didn't start that. They were doing that when I got here.
But you knew about it.
We all knew about it. We just didn't realize what it meant.
Irene?
In here!
Irene, what are you doing?
Shut the door!
Molly's working inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us.
She's gonna be sitting in this room all day, by herself, in the dark, checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So we're gonna give her a little surprise.
Boo! Like the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, won't that make her mad?
Let her get mad.
Let's have the fun.
Well, I don't want to make her mad.
Grace, you have to be this way about everything?
What way?
Your teeth, Grace. What's on your teeth?
Ain't like Molly, I don't deserve it anyway. She paints more dials than any girl on this floor. You can't be bothered to talk to nobody either. You say Amalia, what's new? She just look at you funny.
Well, I don't think she can speak much
I
English.
wouldn't kill her smile now, would
She's
it?
coming.
Get the lights. Boo! Oops.
Miss McNeil! Painting your faces? Have you gone out of your mind?
It was just a joke.
A joke? A joke like that can lose a girl her job.
No, Mrs. McNeil, I'm sure that is not necessary.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
John, very good. Foolishness. We don't want duty. Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room. All the tiles come here as are painted. And here are some of the girls who should on the floor be working. Girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new vice president and your new plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader what a fine bunch of girls we have here. He must now think I'm halfway out of my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you have some words for the girls? Mrs. McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing with, it's very expensive. It takes several tons of ore to make 1 single gram of radium. And that's a lot of work. Hard work for our boys in the extraction plant. But they do it gladly. Do you know why they work so hard? Why we all work so hard?
The war?
That's right, the war. Those dials we paint save lives, girls. Our boys in the field depend on them to read them in the dark. No mistaking what they see. Otherwise, some of those boys won't be coming home. So, if you fool around at work and you don't take your job seriously, well, you're playing into the hands of the Kaiser. And we wouldn't want that, would we?
No, sir, no.
Very good then, girls. Let's leave the tomfoolery to home and get back to work.
Mr. Reader, I just want to say I'm sorry. I won't ever do anything like this ever again.
Well, dear, just keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 17th, 1921. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic. The only female reporter.
Jack Youngwood reporting for the New York Ledger, your first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, embarks on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she is greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The High Priestess of Science is headed to Washington to receive a gift of 1 gram of radium, valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the Marie Curie Radium Club, an association of 100,000 American women,
who each paid $1 to support humanitarian research with radium. Grace, over here!
I mean, look! I got my certificate. Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1?
It's all for science.
What about my room and board?
There she is.
Welcome all, welcome all.
I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhaustive tour of the country, and she is under strict doctor's orders to rest. Although, in the typical fashion of a scientist who can only think of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
Madame Curie,
Madame Curie.
what will you do with the radium?
Eh?
What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer. Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer?
Yes, yes, cure for the cancer. That is so. It has already cured all kinds of the cancer. But some doctors dispute that.
Then they do not understand the matter. There is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie, how do you manage to devote yourself both to science and to your children?
It has not been easy. But my daughters share my gratitude to the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie.
No more questions. Madame Curie is in a tight schedule, and Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
Do you see that, Charlie? That is a marketing opportunity. Let's send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Anyone who thinks these are just novelties, consider all the other advances in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph,
The telephone.
the automobile. All inventions once dismissed as novelties and toys.
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely, but that's not where the growth is, Charlie. You heard the lady. It's in the medical market.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Vansa Shaki let them take it. But we could get half their business if we want. It's just a matter of positioning.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal, sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly. Something that the doctors would respect.
A bibliography, listing every article ever published on radium.
But with capsule reports, so they can find the information they need faster.
And have us to thank for it.
We'll send it to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. Advertising is the way for the future. It's not just your product, it's how you promote it.
You should have seen it, Grace. The church was filled with flowers. Lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amalia loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
They were orchids, I mean.
Those were flags.
Orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Purple orchids. Oh, and that smell. Grace, that smell. What was that smell? It was like
Flowers?
no, it was like heaven. I was gonna say, it was like heaven.
Like heaven, Catherine. It was a funeral. You'll make it out like it was some Valentino
It
picture.
wasn't just a funeral. It was Amalia's. It was beautiful. You should have seen it, Grace. The church was like the botanical gardens, and the company sent a big spray of flowers too. Carnation.
Mums.
Yellow carnation.
Those were
Well,
mums.
it sounds like a nice service anyhow.
Girls! The whistle's already gone. Now then. And I've received new instructions this day. We're going back to the old ways of pointing brushes. We was losing too much paint in the cloth.
But
Yes, Grace? Something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Shaki told me not to do that. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary. Well, I can't hardly believe he'd say such a thing. We've been doing this since I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not to get new brushes until we've done with the old. And they gotta be so bad that you can't get a point no more.
Can't make one like that.
Will you try your best then, since I have my instructions?
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking questions, is it? It's for us to do the work.
I have my instructions, girls. I have my instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, MacNeil. Let's move the starch on your corset.
Was she at the service?
You kidding? MacNeil went across the street for her own mother.
Most everybody else was, though. You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to come, but Mom was working. I had to watch the little ones.
You could have brought them.
All 7.
Well, if it was me, I'd try to get in there.
Well, just lay off. business.
Were many of the fellows there?
Oh yeah, lots of fellows from downstairs. Mr. Roth from the front office, Dr. Von Sashaki was there, and Mr. Rader.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Oh, and Grace, you know that fellow from crystallizing? What's his name? The one with the red hair? You know who I mean?
The tall fellow with the freckles?
That's right, the one who snaps his fingers all the time?
George!
Jerry.
I think it is George.
It's Jerry Mullen. He was the one always talking to Amalia in the day room.
That's right. Oh, and Grace, when the mass is over, he goes over to the coffin, and he goes like this. Like this he goes. No. Yes, really?
Oh, for heaven's sake.
Well, he did. Nobody could believe it.
Well, so what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what? Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, I guess he had to be, if he did that.
And can you imagine? Can you imagine? If he loved her, and he never told her, never could bring himself to say, because she was so beautiful, and he was so shy. But now it's too late. It's too late. Their love is forever thwarted. He never got to tell her, and he never will get the chance ever again.
Poor Amalia.
Poor Amalia. Poor kid. Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Albina, Pizza, everybody. Every one of them crying. Even her father, crying so bad. I'd never seen a man cry. And not like that. Just bawling like a baby.
Do you know why?
Because their daughter had died.
What she died from.
Irene, don't go spreading stories.
It's not a story. Albina told us. No reason Grace should know.
Know what? Know what?
Amalia? Ain't it awful? Albina said her father's fit to be tied too. 6 girls and ain't none of them ever going to a dance ever again.
Well, because Amalia up and died from syphilis. Shh. What? I can't help it if that's what she died.
You don't know that for sure.
It's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
But Amalia was ever so nice.
Guess she got around more than we knew.
Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the doctor's got it wrong.
Oh, come on, Grace.
Well, he could have got it wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
That's true. Doctor was wrong about Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Irene, don't you remember? Up until the day she died, Doctor said Aunt Ivy would be fine. Said, take a cup of tea, get a good night's rest, and 2 days later, he was taking her to Rosedale Cemetery.
Girls, your attention, please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Yes, girls, we are here to put a few rumors to rest.
To explain some changes, Jeff.
Yes, as some of you may have heard, Dr. Von Sashaki is stepping down, and he wanted to take this
To
opportunity.
make this goodbye, and Mr. Rita is kindly consented. Some of you I have known since you were little girls, coming here during the war, working so hard, day after day at the bench. 200, 300, some of you, 500 dials a day. So excited to be part of our work here. When this company I start in my own kitchen, mixing up the paints, I know I found something miraculous to make life better, easier. And now, what I read? More and more uses there are for the radium, more than I dreamed possible.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, as the doctor is a busy man and he must be on his way, let's wish him the best of luck in his new business ventures. Very good,
And
then,
Miss
girls.
Rita, let us good luck wish you also. To the plate you set as your new company president, our congratulations to you.
Thank you.
When Mr. Rita came 4 years ago to us, I saw in him a young man of great enterprise
Thank you.
and great ambition.
Yes, thank you.
Little did I guess the direction your ambition would take, but one of the things that makes this country great is the opportunity presented to a young man and his friends.
And so,
And so,
girls,
ladies, let us good luck wish to Mr. Reader in the new direction he intends the company to take. New direction? With the slowdown in Dow
Now, Doctor.
and business moving into the medical market, there's going to be lots of changes, Jeff.
what the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial taking studios.
Which means less work for our girls here.
In the short run, there may be less work here, but the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut will need help setting up its new studio. We were intending to make an announcement next week. We'll make it now. Mrs. McNeil?
Well, we'll be asking some of you girls to go on up there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. Did you have some girls in mind?
Yeah, Louise Kahn was one, Sarah Deutsch, Lena McCarthy, and Catherine Shaw. I have the whole list downstairs. I'll post it today.
That'll be fine. Very good then, girls. As we are all on the clock, I will leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies. My best wishes to you.
And then back to work with you girls.
You can do it, Catherine?
Oh, come on, Grace. It'd be fun. Wouldn't it be fun, Irene? Irene, are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I want to.
What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week, and she quits the place.
More to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But when you get to be my age, with a house full of your kids underfoot, you'll thank God for every penny you put by.
We got money to put by.
How much?
Enough to get married on.
Enough to get married on. But do you have enough to stay married on?
You let us get married and we'll find out.
You silly, Tommy?
That's good.
You're gonna get fat.
Gotta keep up with strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Ma.
I didn't say nothing. It was your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
You should have seen the man's face, Tom. When he found out Grace wasn't working no more, most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Good money, easy work, nice-looking fellas around the plant.
You didn't tell me about them, Grace.
Wasn't that many of them? Hardly seem worth the mention.
And she leaves it all behind, for reasons unknown. I'm tired of it up there, she says. Are you tired of the paycheck? I says. I don't need me a paycheck, she says. I got me a boyfriend to take me out on Saturdays.
She said that.
Oh, you know I didn't. And for your information, I got a job. I start the bank on Monday.
The bank, and what's its pay?
Enough?
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom? It don't come close to what it pays up at the Radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Looks like you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Boy, she's really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes, so long as I'm looking somewhere.
It makes no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Sure, I liked it. I worked there for 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years. I plan to keep on delivering mail another 20, 30 years if I'm lucky. Nothing like easy work and a good pension to help sleep at night.
I don't have a pension, and I sleep just fine.
I bet you do. So how come you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting. Work is slow. Besides, ever since Irene left, it's just not as much fun. And would you rather have a girlfriend who works in a bank?
Not as much as I'd like to have a wife who don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes. I got a surprise for you.
Yeah? Want me to pull the shades?
It's not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Now look.
Wallpaper.
For the baby's room.
Baby's room? You don't kiss me? You're talking about babies?
Well, there's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, Grace. But you know, most girls, they get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
Well, no, they're not. This one has little flowers, and this one has big flowers. So pick one.
This some kind of test?
No, it's just wallpaper.
It is some kind of test.
Pick one, Tommy.
That one.
Really?
The other one, then.
Well, which do you like, though?
They're both nice.
This one's pretty, don't you think?
That one, then.
But I want you to like it, too.
If you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper's wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You gotta pick something you can stand and look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants. No one ever get that kiss.
All right. That one. Hands down, that one.
I like it, too. A nice neutral yellow color. Goes with either a boy or a girl. And until the baby comes, you can use your room for other things.
Yeah? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe.
A painting studio, maybe. Didn't you get enough of that painting at work?
Not the kind I wanted to do, Tommy. I used to paint watercolors at school, and ever since I went to work, I don't have no time. What with helping Mom watching the kids, once we get married, I just want a little time to myself. So I can do watercolors, or oils maybe, or portraits in oil. I can paint a picture if you like.
Why not? Paint a big picture of me and we can hang it in the outhouse. All of our friends will come around just to use a can so they can look at it.
Oh, the way you talk sometimes!
Oh, Grace, you want to paint pictures? Paint pictures. I can stop you.
You say that now, Tommy. But once we're married, we'll change your tune.
Sure, I'll be whistling Dixie.
Why do you come home some night, all worn out? Some Christmas, maybe, when every customer on your house had 3 times the mail. And maybe some dog took after you. Or some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop, telling you about her grandchildren. And you wouldn't have the heart to tell you can't talk. I know you. So you come home all cranky and hungry, waiting for your dinner, and there I am in the kitchen with my easel set up, and my drop cloth on the floor, and my paints all over the table, and your dinner nowhere in sight. What would you say then?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
Well, sure. I still admire painting. Just want to look at it on a full stomach, that's all. So, how did you pick the wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with the stripes.
Striped polka dots! I don't care! Let's just get married, Grace. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we ain't waiting no more. We'll just run off.
Tommy, we're not running off. We're going to do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music. And then a week at the seashore. Just us. You'll see. It'll be worth the wait.
Aww. Your mouth hurting you?
Yeah. The dentist wants to pull my tooth in the back.
What's a tooth?
Hayes accuser. Any connection to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here.
Left 6 months ago.
This makes 4 now.
3.
4 if you count the Maggio girl.
I wouldn't include her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places. And what she died from, you couldn't pick up here. At least, I don't think you can.
Charlie, that's not funny. Besides, that's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
From a large family, wasn't she?
Italians, the conditions they live in. 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. No wonder they don't all die of one infection or another.
3 then. And how many dead?
Only Miss Maggio, but I haven't heard from her people.
It's too late for them anyways. Statute of limitations is 2 years. Miss Cuser's another story though. She's in a position to make some trouble now.
In all the years I've worked here, no one has so much as slipped on the floor. And now, this.
We're talking about 4 girls, out of how many hundreds that we've employed.
600, 700 over the years.
And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you hired, she was a complete cripple, couldn't even climb up the stairs. Her father had to carry her up to the studio every morning.
It didn't make a difference to me how she got here, Charlie. She was a fast worker and a very sweet girl.
But she was in poor health.
She needed the work.
Arthur. Charlie.
And not just for the money, Charlie. To have a purpose. That's what work does. It gives us a purpose. And I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When they start getting sick and want to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
Let's see what Dr. Drinker has to say.
Dr. Drinker?
Some professor of the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department, and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit, hiring him?
We've had 6 girls quit this week, and Mrs. McNeil tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
It's never been like this. These girls are terrified. We have to do something to calm them down.
Letting Drinker examine them? That sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll tell them it's a routine physical. Edward?
Companies give physicals all the time.
Then Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I recommend we make an offer, Miss Cuser.
Settled?
There's no proof her prompts are connected to us.
If she sues, trust me, you won't like the publicity it brings. And neither will your investors.
You think this will affect the stock offer?
Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or not open at all.
But if we give this girl something, that would keep her quiet.
It would be a condition of the settlement.
Maybe we better do it.
But suppose this lawyer, he has a racket going, where he finds sick girls and he convinces them into making suits. Then we're rewarding his larceny.
Unless Miss Cuser genuinely believes she got sick here.
It could be like Charlie said. She comes from a large immigrant family. Not well educated. Not a lot of resources.
A few $100s can make a big difference to a girl like that.
Certainly. Pay a few doctor's bills, buy some medicine. From the sound of that letter, I don't think the girl's got long to live anyways.
So it would be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
What do you think we should offer?
March 24th, 1924. Jack Youngwood reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure to crippling arthritis.
Some patients reported a significant abatement in their symptoms.
Mrs. Jeremy Michaels of the Bronx tells how radium water transformed her life.
My pain got so bad I could hardly bend over.
While others reported only mild relief.
This poor, brave woman could not even bend down to kiss her little ones goodnight.
And I got 3. Let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Medical Examiner of Essex County, commented on the study.
Preliminary, at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martland?
I advise further study. Further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radiathor.
They said it would help with my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. It wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
That test sample is questionably small.
Well, at first it feels like you're being hit by a bolt of lightning. It's that powerful. Now I just drink a bottle a week to maintain my health. I scrub the kitchen floors and I hang laundry the same as I always have.
Dr. William J.A. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radiathor, reports strong demand for his product.
Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces that sales of Radiathor exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is one of the most remarkable agents of the medical science. I drink Radium myself, and I can vouch for its power.
A bottle a day?
At $1 a bottle?
Worth every penny.
Yes, indeed. I myself was a picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, and I have energy of a man in his 30s.
You rather look like a man in his 30s.
Well, thank you.
A testament to the tonic's potency?
Or to the cellar's creativity?
Radium is the perpetual sunshine.
And a perpetual money machine for its inventor.
Is there no thing that science will not do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
Don't need no appointment.
Catherine, it's a busy place. If you don't have an appointment, maybe you should make one.
I shouldn't need no appointment for this.
I'm sorry. I didn't find anything on your shelf.
No, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph?
Irene Rudolph, the girl I'm asking about.
Did she file the complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Knapp, Irene's dentist, he said she might have flossy jaw, and he was going to complain to the health department about it, but when I asked him, he said he hadn't heard nothing. It's been over 6 months now.
Flossy jaw, you say?
Yes.
Catherine, it could have been like your doctor said, a blood infection.
Yeah, but what gave it to her? That's the thing. What's it from?
From dirt. You get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad, she couldn't eat nothing. You think you get something like that from a little dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody it's radium in the paint. But it's really phosphorus that makes it glow.
Oh, honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
So her Grace?
Well, Catherine, it was like what you said. They would have never let you work up there in the first place.
Sure, they just shut the place down.
Shut it down. Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know. The county?
Honestly, Grace, you are such a ninny.
Hey.
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of that?
Now, come on.
It's all right, Tommy.
She's got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset? She's gone around the bend. She probably dumping arsenic into the drinking water. Next, she'll be there using baby soap in the furnace.
Go ahead and laugh. You won't laugh so hard when it's you come in here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
Yeah, that's how it started for Irene. Just a toothache. You wait, Grace. You wait. You'll wake up one morning, your gums hurt so bad, you won't be able to open your mouth. So weak and so sick, you won't be able to stand up.
Stop, Catherine.
Pain so bad, you won't be able to sleep. And your face so swollen, you'll be able to see the side
I
of
said
yourself.
stop it, Catherine! Grace is fine. Right, Grace?
Irene Rudolph?
That's her.
She worked at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company's in full compliance with all health and labor regulations. They ordered
Let me see that.
Miss Riley.
Who's Miss Young?
That's the health officer.
Paint is harmless compound of radium and zinc?
As I was saying, the analysis shows that there's no phosphorus anywhere in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. See, Catherine.
Miss Young toured the plant herself. She found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
Well, I guess we get some lunch then.
I'm gonna file another complaint.
They already did an investigation.
I want to file another complaint!
Oh, brother.
Catherine, these folks, they're awful busy here.
I want to file another complaint.
Oh, I just don't see what good it's going to do, Catherine, to make such a fuss this way.
Grace, 3 surgeries. wanted to cut her again. She finally said no. She knew. What was left of her jaw rotted so bad. The smell was terrible. And Grace, the worst of it is, I couldn't look at her. I was so afraid of being alone. But I left her alone. And when she died, it was in the middle of the night. And nobody was with her.
I'm sorry, miss. Can we have another form? My friend would like to file with a complaint.
Another complaint? Is the girl still sick?
No, she died.
Wait right here.
Harriet, just come down from that tree at once.
I'm waiting for Papa.
Fine. When he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is. Papa, Papa.
Harriet!
Harriet, come down at once.
Papa, I can see clearly the church.
Can you? Do you see your grandfather?
No, but I see the schoolhouse.
You think this is funny?
She's enjoying herself.
Harriet,
Tell you what, she has no one to shout to. She won't shout.
they can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes down, I want you to speak to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Relax. Time is on your side. In a couple of years, she'll lose all interest in trees and develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me.
And when that day comes, you'll be frantic because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
It's something to give you vitality.
You think I need vitality?
That's what it says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're his supplier. Would you like to try some?
If it will give me vitality, how could I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case.
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Let me guess. Wife in a hospital with cancer.
Yes.
And the husband's been laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Dan was by to see me yesterday. It's never enough with him to have ordinary ambitions. You have to have a mission in life.
And you do.
No. I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help that man if you could.
If I could, Diane, if I could, but I can't offer him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dan Lemon?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some help.
In the laboratory? He needs trained technicians, not a bricklayer. What about Mrs. Middleton? Don't you ladies have a social club for things like this?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
Yes, the club takes an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either, which is why I thought you could help them.
Oh, you do love being married to the company president.
It has its advantages.
Have you ever thought of trading it in?
Have you?
I got my shoes shined this morning. As I sat there watching that boy work, I thought, this is quite an enterprise. The work walks in and the work walks out. There's no inventory, no stock price, no business, no marketing.
And you'll trade all of it in for your own shoe shine stand.
Fewer headaches that way.
So you're in one of those moods again. What is it this time? It can't be the market. It went up today.
And now you're reading the financial pages.
I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're acting very strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me, you know.
It's nothing, really. This is going to be our best year ever.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll get that check looking.
What for?
For your bricklayer.
Artie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs to work.
It wears on his soul not to work. All right, if it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll talk to Dan.
Artie.
But I make no promises, Diane. No promises.
Cheers.
How long have you had this drainage?
A week or two. It hurt something awful, Dr. Knight.
Anything else bothering you?
My back.
You're back now? You seen your regular doctor?
He says it's nerves.
Nerves?
What about my butt and all?
This ain't no case of nerves. Hope you told him that much.
Well, what do you think?
Think you better schedule that surgery.
Well, couldn't we put it off a little while? Until after my wedding?
You don't have no surgery? You don't have none.
What?
Miss Fryer, I want you to listen to me. Your jawbone is decaying. That's black pus oozing out of your gums. It's the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation, from Cecil Drinker, Harvard University, enclosed in our report.
Finally.
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to radium.
Radium?
It can't be as bad as all that.
This can't be.
Put off the surgery and you will develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
Blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Everything I've got, I saved for my wedding.
Photographic films carried by your employees show heavy fogging.
Well, I got a suggestion for you.
And we suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout your plant.
Go to the radium plant and explain your situation.
We realize that no proof can be offered at the present.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in,
This is impossible.
But in the view and material in the literature,
It's a mistake.
and the facts enclosed by our investigation,
I don't see how they could refuse.
we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
Look, if you want, I'll write to them for you. They can work through me, just pay my bills directly.
Do you think they do that?
Charlie!
They've got a moral obligation, don't you think?
I guess so.
We'll do it right now. We'll get some paper.
He has to be wrong, that's all. He's wrong. Charlie, he has to be wrong.
He must have overlooked something.
If it's a new ailment being caused by the radium, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
One would expect.
There are several hundred milligrams of radium in the big vats at all times, several hundred in crystallizing, several hundred in ore.
The entire backyard is filled with its tailings.
Radium is present in good amounts across the plant.
If it had been the radium, the incidence of illness would be highest in the laboratory.
And no one there is sick.
Perhaps it's some combination of the radium with the zinc.
Or something peculiar to our plant alone.
Some bacteria in the brushes.
It can't be the radium. There are dozens of application plants across the nation, and none of them have ever reported anything like this.
Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What are we going to do, Arthur? This tears us to pieces. How do we answer them?
They want to see the report? Very well, we will send them this.
One page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us. This is a proprietary report. What we do with it is our business.
The Department of Labor, Arthur.
Just need time, Charlie. Just a little more time.
They could shut us down for this.
Scientists, government men, none of them know what it takes to run a business. Lots of shocking thought advertising is a dirty word. But we showed them, Charlie. We showed lots of shocking. We are the world's largest single supplier of radium, the largest in the world. Do you know what it took us to get here? Do you think I'm going to stand idly by and let our good name be dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to come all this way.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
I told the surgeon he was coming over. So he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so?
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does.
Well, that's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this happened before you left the company or after?
After I left, Dr. Neff says this all has to do with the radium plant. I know a girl who worked and died there. Irene Rudolph.
Oh yes, terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
That's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no. An unfortunate and rare result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else about this. In the papers. About other girls who got sick. One girl I worked with for a while. She's in the hospital in New York, and the doctors don't know what to do. They've never seen anything like it.
Miss Fryer, don't tell me you pay attention to those papers. Those stories are not scientific.
But
reporters are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist is not concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate natural processes that most people could never presume to understand. You would do well to listen to science and ignore the nonsense written in the papers, because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
it doesn't?
Not in the least.
Well, then what's ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet.
But Dr. Neff said.
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruits.
Hard to do in winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help the anemia. Raw calf's liver particularly. Cook it if you must. Eat it twice a week at a minimum. Oh, no, Miss Fryer, I'm a scientist.
and I take a purely scientific interest in this situation. By allowing me to examine you, you are helping me advance my own studies. I thank you. Call me anytime, day or night.
Okay, Dr. Flynn. Thanks.
Happy to be of service.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD in Physiology, Columbia University. PhD? That's not a real doctor.
I find it, Sister Reader.
He's seen half a dozen girls who sort of the plan. Word I hear, he's working for the company.
An objective evaluation, I trust?
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
And I let the fellow examine me.
I never examined her per se. It was not a medical examination per se.
Nevertheless, you were able to offer her some useful advice.
I did my best for her.
Every girl he sees, it's the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood is better than mine, he says.
And how are you coming along with the rest of the results in your studies?
The animal studies I conducted showed no adverse effects from radio. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe somebody would do that to you. Straight up lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's exactly the way you said, Catherine. Those people will say anything. They'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
We're going to make them, Catherine. We're going to make sure someone hears about this.
I am grateful, Dr. Flynn, but I'm particularly grateful to hear that the young lady you examined is doing so much better.
I didn't examine her. I merely consulted with her.
All the same, she is doing much better.
From what I can see, Mr. Rader, she's on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here's my statement of fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
And so, I leave you all now with this final thought, ladies and gentlemen. We do not have to accept the injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence the practices of those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiley. And thanks to New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for this evening. I don't think we have time for questions, but we hope you'll join us next door for some light refreshments.
You want anything?
My throat's a little dry.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm here to see Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the Women's Club.
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest room member?
No, ma'am. I'm
Then I'm sure that Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not until I see Miss Wiley.
It's okay, Mrs. Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young at the health department said I should see you. I know I should have stopped at your office, but I had a lot of work lately. I don't want to miss no more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call you myself. Have a seat.
Me and Catherine, we wrote to the company about our troubles, but we never heard nothing. So then we went to see a couple of lawyers, but they all said they can't do nothing, because it's been so long since we left the radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. And one lawyer, he said he would try and sue anyhow, only he wants $1,000 up front. I already spent everything on my wedding at doctors and dentists and hospitals, and I still don't even know what's wrong. And Tom, that's my fella. He says he don't care. He says he wants to get married. But I just wonder, what good would I do to him like this? Miss Wiley, if I could just get some compensation, I could settle my debts. And then maybe I wouldn't feel like I was saddling Tom with such a burden. I'm sorry to rally you on about these things, but I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
And I don't blame you.
Miss Young at the health department said the Consumers League has, what did she say? A clout.
I mean, I'd like to think so. We've had our share of successes.
Can you help us?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find you a lawyer, someone to take it out on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay them unless you won. Would you sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now let's say the company comes up to you and says, here's some money for you, Miss Fryer. Only you're not to tell anyone what we agreed to. You're not to tell anyone of how you got sick.
You mean keep it quiet?
Yes.
Well, that don't seem right.
It isn't right. But that's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence, Miss Fryer. Is it for sale?
No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So you help us then.
I think I can help you. If you're willing to take some chances.
Chances?
Miss Fryer, if you could set aside your own personal need just for the moment, we can stop this company dead in its tracks.
What do I have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1. You want to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper. Many, many newspapers.
Is that really necessary? How we want us to
Tommy,
raise
let her finish. I understand your concerns, but this company's already shown its willingness to go to extremes to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way to get to them is to hit them where it matters the most. Their public image. When every newspaper in America tells your story, how you were sorely treated, how you suffered, how the company denied all responsibility. Believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's a little frightening.
It's okay. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hold on to that anger, Miss Fryer, because you're going to need it. But don't let anyone else see it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer, it's our strongest weapon. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4th, 1927. Jack Youngwood reporting for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic.
On the strange case of the Radium girls.
Who claim to have been poisoned at the hands of their employer.
And now seek their day in court.
$250,000.
That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000.
Ask me. It's all a sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of working, sure.
Doctors say the Radium girls have only a year to live.
1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe like Irene Castle's.
I'd give it all to charity.
Then I'd travel around the world first class with all my friends.
I'd play the stock market.
I'd buy my preferred coat and a diamond ring the size of New Hampshire.
I used to pay my medical bills and pay off the second mortgage on our house, the one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home,
Suffering bravely through this entire ordeal.
struggling valiantly to maintain her flaming spirits.
For the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile, but I try to smile. I know if I don't smile, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing that you have such little time left?
I try not to think about it.
But it must get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through.
And the company is getting fat off your labor.
And all the company has to say about it is,
No comments. Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh no, that won't do no good. I'd rather just like to think about how it's going to be. When justice prevails, then I can do something nice for the folks. Maybe send them on a trip. They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We can only strive to bear our cross in life as nobly and bravely as this beautiful young woman.
Mr. Barry, I will not stand for this type of histrionics.
I had nothing to do with that, Mr. Markley.
I've been in this game a long time, Mr. Barry. When I see a story like this, move over the wires. I am not so naive to believe that a plaintiff's lawyer has nothing to do with it.
What's your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500.
That's not even a year's wages!
We think it's very generous considering your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court can't write law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years and the cause of injury is discovered.
Very clever, Mr. Barry. Very clever. I have to admire your imagination, but you have a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take a great interest in this case, and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt that'll prove good press for the Consumers League. And you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind this.
Hiding, Miss Wiley.
You know very well the law never anticipated a situation like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the cause.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When or
that's to say, if this case goes to trial, I only hope that's your own opening argument, Mr. Berry. You would have made our defense. See what they're hearing.
The arrogance of that man.
Tell me again first these documents, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Berry. That's the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then my strategy is working.
And what about the girls? How does that help them to read in a dozen different newspapers that they have such little time left to live?
Mr. Berry, surely you can see. The U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls it's poisoned. But the average housewife of Orange cares very deeply. And so do millions of other women across the country. These women shop. They buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League campaign will lead to one outcome, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Berry. Wait and see. Dear Miss I read her side story in the Boston Globe, and I'm so sorry for your plight. It seems in this time of rapid advancement, the well-being of the average worker is overlooked. I would like to share with the girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It is called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fry, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlantic Constitution, and I'm prepared to offer you girls a solution. Venison, a wonder tonic made of all natural ingredients. Venison will restore your health and vitality. We're prepared to offer you girls a lifetime supply of venison in exchange for the rights to use your papers in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I heard about you in the Billings Gazette. I run 100-head cattle up here and do very well by myself. I've always longed for a companion and am welcome to offer you a comfortable home during your final hours. A girl like you has suffered so much. Don't you think you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your and mine, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed is my picture.
Look at this, Catherine. This man actually sent a phone. All right, Catherine.
Wait again.
Shall I get the nurse?
I did this before. It'll stop.
Maybe we should go.
No, don't go.
Don't you need your sleep?
Who can sleep? I never sleep.
Well, you'll sleep tomorrow. Yeah?
I now wake up.
Well, of course you'll wake up.
Not if you don't go well. Sometimes you don't come out of it so good. My mother's cousin, she went to the hospital for her appendix, and she didn't come home again.
Well, you just can't think that way. That's all. I mean, look at this mail, Catherine. Miss Wiley said folks would be on our side. She sure is right. Here's one from California.
So you don't win.
Of course we'll win.
What if we don't? My father will lose his house. We'll be on the street. You'll be on the street too. Your father was so thousands. How can you stand it, Grace? How can Tom stand it? Don't you ever wonder?
Catherine, as soon as the judge hears our testimony, he's going to rule for us.
Think so?
Sure. Let me see what kind of shape we're in. We'd be awful hard to ignore.
That'll be something then, won't it? To see the look on Mr. Reader's face when we get on the stand?
Yeah. You want to read some more papers?
They ain't got no vanilla, so I got chocolate instead.
Took you long enough.
Don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me on the way over here. All of them reporters, and all of them asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
No one's waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother, asked if I had died. And when she said no, he sounded disappointed.
Try to eat a little of this. You'll feel better.
Evening, girls. How about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We need some pictures for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000, that's what. Think you could use $5,000, Grace?
I don't understand.
Perhaps you're familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Kreider, herbalist. Mr. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just what these girls need to get back on their feet. And the graphic will pay for it. All we ask for is the exclusive right to their story from here on out. See for yourself.
You want to pay us to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, huh?
Let me see that.
It's serious, Grace.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Oh, Grace, what did your father owe on that house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last hospital bill? That's a couple hundred at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is talk to this herbalist fellow?
Of course. We need to get our money's worth. A series of features. Following your treatment, the illness, your recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
And then you print whatever you want.
Maybe we add color. Everybody adds color.
It don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about it.
Miss Wiley? What's it to her? You're the one with bills to pay.
Well, it wouldn't be right to do something without telling Miss Wiley.
You're a big girl, Grace. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course I can make my own decisions.
You'd take it if it came from the company.
The company owes us a lot more than that.
If you ever see it.
Grace, maybe we should do it.
Well, I just don't feel right.
Great. You're gonna talk to them reporters anyhow. Why not get some out of it?
He's right, you know. Why give your story away when people are dying to read it? Believe me, you girls could cash in big. The day we ran the feature on you, bang, sold out of every copy at every newsstand. Everybody can sympathize with the plight of some poor, sick girl facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired. She needs a rest.
Great. At least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I understand. You're worried about what people will say. But hey, you gotta look out for your own interest here. There's no reason why you shouldn't get something out of all of this. Look out for number one. That's the way. Everybody else is out to get what they can. For sure. Why sit back and keep your nose clean when everybody else is up to their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of the girls who say they got sick. One of them, their jaw had rotted so bad, I removed the bone by just lifting it out of the mouth. As you can see.
That's all right, Dr. Neff. You can put that away.
Perhaps you'd rather see it on the X-ray. This was a very expensive case to treat, and I never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
I sympathize, Dr. Neff, but what has this to do with us?
Here it is straight. There's going to be a lot more girls coming out and saying they got sick here. So maybe we can do business. I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
I'm
That's
not following you.
Suppose you was to give me a list of all the girls who worked here. I'd see it to where there would be no more lawsuits.
Do you think you could cure them?
I couldn't put out a cure, no. I'm saying, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
How so, Dr. Neff?
I'd examine them for radium necrosis. Then I'd come up with a favorable diagnosis. Well, pyorrhea, say, something else. Quite a few cases will just die a natural death anyway, and the rest we can just put off for a while until the statute of limitations kicks in, and it's too late to sue.
You'll persuade them they haven't got a case against the company.
Exactly. And if it did come to court, I could testify that there was some other problem, and there would be strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated me.
What makes you so sure these girls will come to you?
They'll come to me quick if I don't charge them, right?
Because we'd be paying.
Exactly right. We understand each other, Mr. Reed.
Exactly what are you asking for, Dr. Neff?
I need $10,000 for my trouble so far, and for every girl I'd agreed to see from here on out. $2 for every visit, plus expenses for the x-rays. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement. Better off if it's not in writing.
No.
All right, we'll put it in
We
writing.
will do nothing of the kind. Your proposal is immoral, and we will have nothing to do with it.
Immoral, you say?
Mr. Lee,
You're a fine one to be talking about morals. When you've got your own hired guns ready to testify.
those are expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses? Paid lackeys is more like it, and believe me, none of them's got the dirt I've got. If you're smart, you'll play ball with me. Besides, there's plenty of other people interested in the information.
You're threatening me.
Just a business proposition, Mr. Reed. I'm looking after my interests the same way you look after yours.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right. You don't want to play ball? That's fine. Believe me, when all this shakes out, it won't be me who will get the short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements about what happened to you this morning. We will send them into the State Dental Society, and Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea.
I don't know. Perhaps we shouldn't dismiss Neff's proposal.
What do do you mean?
Well, we're in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
Yes, that's true. Mr. Lee says you're having trouble getting girls to work here.
Yes, and we've lost some contracts because of it.
And it's going to get worse.
And the papers are full of stories about those girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Except to say we'll try our case in court.
And in the court of public opinion, we've already lost.
Perhaps we should reconsider. It certainly wouldn't hurt to have a testimony from a dentist who treated those girls, wouldn't it?
Neff can be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him as what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is a highly respected professor at Columbia University. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
But Dr. Flynn did treat some of those girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them, he consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice, Arthur.
It wasn't medical advice, it was an opinion, a scientific opinion.
How about this? We retain Neff, but we don't put him on stand, just so we keep him from testifying for the women.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree.
Could you agree?
Most important.
Could you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Edward, we can't do this. We can't get into bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur's right. We don't want to do business with Neff.
He could hurt us. We have to take steps.
Neff has already given us everything we need. New evidence, gentlemen. This is grounds for postponement.
Three months to study an X-ray, it's outrageous. And the girls, did you see the girls? Their eyes were like saucers staring at me, terrified.
Mr. Barry,
How are they going to last 3 more months? Catherine Shaw could barely make it into the courtroom today. And Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. And of course, I had all the answers. Go home, girls, get some rest. That's the best I can do, get some rest.
you're doing wonderfully.
I don't understand people like Mark Lee. And Reader, how can he play this kind of game with those poor girls sitting right there?
Perhaps this will help.
You'd think that the company would be eager to get rid of this, with the kind of publicity this has gotten. But Markley seems to like the sport of it. What he can get away with is cold.
Mr. Barry.
Very cold.
Mr. Barry.
What's this?
I received it this morning. It's from Catherine Drinker. This is Cecil Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist also and worked with Dr. Drinker on the study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
That's very interesting, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen that document. There's nothing in it to help us.
You've only seen part of it, Mr. Barry. Please. This is the full report I received this morning. Mrs. Drinker has been following our story closely in the papers and was particularly disturbed to read the last article in the Ledger, the one where Mr. Lee says her study clears the company.
He doctored the report? Reader doctored the report?
Apparently, he pulled out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed off as the whole thing. It doesn't seem so bad by itself, but in context, it's a somewhat different picture.
We can use this.
Yes, that will impress the judge.
The judge, Miss Wiley? I'm not going to wait 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact you have in the New York World. If Reader won't let us present this in the courtroom, they can hear about it in the newspapers.
January 12, 1928. Jack Youngwood reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic.
Radium girls go to court today.
Radium girls knock on the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor, injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin,
and death. And as the clock slowly ticks away the precious moments,
a hearing begins in Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands a postponement,
while plaintiff's attorney Raymond Berry makes a shocking disclosure,
showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing that it distorted the results of a Harvard study,
concealing the ill effects of its product.
Read all about it in the Ledger.
Read all about it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Very bad.
You didn't read it?
I make it a point not to these days.
If only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell, from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me.
know she saw me. And the women at the market, and the big green grocer, the way they glanced at each other. And at the club, Mrs. Middleton, the other ladies, the whispers.
Why don't you put that away? Let's read something else. The journal. I saw it around the other day.
At the club today, someone actually had the nerve to say, "Is it true? Is it true," she said, "that your husband poisoned those women?" I said, "Mrs. Cowles, if you think it is true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate myself with a woman whose husband does such things."
Why do you go there then if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
What do you want me to say, Diane? That I knew we were poisoning people, but we were making too much money to
I
stop?
certainly don't want you to say such a thing.
Even if it were true? Especially if it was true?
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
For God's sakes, Diane, can't you see? His father's shocking. He's jealous of our success, so he's feeding information to the consumers league so they can railroad us.
Why would the consumers
They're a bunch
league...
of radical women, do-gooders. Half of them are socialists. They're all right. Same thing with that club you belong to.
What?
You heard me. You women think you could go around and solve the world's problems.
I can't. I'm
While your
sorry.
husbands go out and make a living. You're going to quit that club.
Quit the club?
Stop talking to that idiot, Mrs.
You're not
Middleton.
making any sense.
She doesn't know anything. None of those women know anything. You don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie. I disagreed with Drinker's opinion.
Arthur,
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I can't listen to this.
Diane, I have documents. I have articles. People with tumors the size of baseballs and mild radium therapy. The tumors, they disappear.
I'm tired. I'm going upstairs.
Diane, we save lives. We make lives better. Mild radium therapy invigorates. Can't you see that I would never set out to poison someone? Do you think I would ever do anything to hurt you, to hurt Harriet?
Certainly not.
That
13 girls have died.
people die every day. Newspapers are full of death lists. Young, old, infants, children, younger than Harriet. They die every day.
But they worked for you.
They also worked other places. I have a report from a respected professor at Columbia University saying that radium has no connection with these girls' illnesses.
Then what could the cause be?
I don't know, Diane. I've looked everywhere and nobody knows. Please, say you believe me. If you don't believe me, then nothing matters.
Artie.
Do you remember the day I told my father I wasn't going into the ministry? What you said to me that day?
You can do as good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
You remember.
You think I would forget?
I was such a scared kid. He was an icon. I don't think I could have stood up for him if it hadn't been for you.
I'm sure you would have, Artie. I know you would have.
Ever since then, he's been looking for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that, do you? That my soul is lost?
You're a good man.
We save lives, Diane.
You save lives.
It's all for you. You know that, don't you? It always has been.
I know.
Please don't let that be another word. Don't answer it.
Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
Charlie? Charlie, for God's sakes.
I just got off the phone with someone from the ledger.
Couldn't you have waited until the morning?
I'm sorry. Good evening, Mr. Lee. It's Dr. Lemon, Arthur.
What?
He's dead.
What? That's not possible. I just saw him last week.
He was here a month ago for cards. They were just here.
Martin's already done the autopsy. He said it was a severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium.
The ledger wants to run it on page 1. The reporter I talked to wants us to run a statement at 8 o'clock. That's when he needs it, so it can run tomorrow.
When are the services?
Sorry?
The services.
I don't know.
We'll send flowers, Diane.
Of course, I'll call Louise.
Yes, call Louise.
Oh, poor Louise. I should go see her right now. We should go see her right now.
I wouldn't do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
The reporter from the ledger told me. She's filing a wrongful death action. I've worked up the statement for tomorrow. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in decline.
But Dad was never sick. He was always on the golf course, or sailing, or at their garden party. They kept a beautiful garden.
Charlie, let's take care of this in the morning.
Yeah, of course. Sorry to bring you bad news. Mrs. Reader, good night. Good night.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times. We have to say something. I don't know what we'll say, but we have to say something because stockholders will expect it.
You needn't explain, Auntie.
Sometimes it's necessary to explain.
It's all right. You needn't explain. We're going to throw this away now.
There's half a case under the sink.
And we'll get rid of that too. We'll have no more of it in the house.
All right, I'll do it. Diane, I've been too far to quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
To Mr. Raymond Berry, from Harrison Martland, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We examined the remains of fallen deceased Amalia Maggio. Our studies revealed the following. Large quantities of radioactive substances have been found in the upper jaw, the lower jaw, and lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive.
Bones of dead girl kick off gamma rays.
Catherine Wiley of Consumers League declares, new evidence shows company lie.
Dr. Joseph Beck, a Newark dentist who treated Amalia, has just turned over portions of the jawbone which he extracted. These X-ray films show that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make your case?
Will this force a settlement?
Make our case? No. This gentleman will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation, Dr. Von Shishaki, broke his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Doctor, is it true that you assisted in the autopsy of Miss Maggio?
Yeah, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine Miss Maggio absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
What does this say about mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Radium is responsible for the deaths of these poor girls. It should be considered a most dangerous substance.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that the radium girls only have 1 year to live?
From what I've seen, they will be lucky to last that long.
Thank you for your time.
I'll tell you what we should have done. We should have took that reporter up on her offer. That's what we should have done.
$5,000. Don't make me laugh.
We should have talked her up a bit too, because I'll tell you what she'd pay.
Stop telling me what we should have done. Lots of things we should have done.
All right, keep your shirt on.
What do you think? The red or the blue?
So what's Barry to say? Is he going to go back to the company?
I like the red one. It don't fit so good these days.
Is he going to try to talk the company up a bit?
Miss Wiley thinks it'll interview her too. So I say what's one more.
Oh, why not? What if they came up to 6,000? Would you take it then?
Let him come up. I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
A settlement? It's a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win. They're going to win anyway.
It's nice you got so much confidence in me.
For Christ's sakes, Grace. You got one lawyer working for nothing up against 6 other lawyers working in a bundle. You think you got a chance?
You know what I found out today? They put lead screens in the laboratory. For the technicians. Did they give us lead screens?
Jesus Christ.
What do you think? 100 girls in a room, they're going to spend that kind of money on us? And they want to keep it all quiet.
What are we
Miss
doing
Wiley
here,
says in the
Grace?
room cross river to New York.
Grace,
And nothing
Grace!
happens!
Then what are we doing here, Grace? I thought the idea was you get some money, settle your debts, get a better doctor, and we just get on with things.
Get on with things.
You're still wearing the ring.
Honey.
Grace, there's a house for sale up in my brother's neighborhood. Nothing much, but it's a start. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. You'd like it. It already has flower wallpaper. And best of all is it's 2 blocks away from the school.
The school? What do we need with the school?
Plan ahead for once.
Tommy, what do you think is going to happen after all this is over? Do you think that everything will just go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I gotta see the surgeon again.
Uh-huh.
I've got some fluid. He says he's gonna drain it.
Okay.
And there'll be more.
So
And still more than more! Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and getting married when you know that there's nothing?
Grace! I can't think of come home to you, to my wife every day. I'm too old to be living like this, Grace. This in-between life. I promise, Grace. I'll do whatever it takes to make it easy for you. I promise.
Here.
What are you doing?
I should have given it to you a long time ago.
I don't want it.
Are you gonna make me say it?
You just need to get some rest. That's all.
Tommy.
I'll be back tomorrow in the morning.
Tommy!
You just get some sleep, okay?
Tommy, don't you do this to me! Tommy!
Arthur?
Oh, Charlie.
Aren't you headed home?
I've been thinking, Charlie. I think we're taking the wrong approach here. We should settle it, girls. We can't do this anymore.
No, Arthur. We agree. We need a definite victory. Otherwise, we invite more of the same nonsense.
Charlie, things have changed.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let that cloud your judgment.
Von Sashaki is going to testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him?
Not a bribe, consideration.
Consideration.
For an expert witness, whatever Barry's paying him, we'll just offer him more.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A guilty man, he has a tremendous need to unburden himself. His guilt can eat him alive. Don't you see? What Von Sashaki wants is to be free. That's why he's testifying for the girls, and why he'll never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you bribe him with.
Settle with these girls, and you have to settle with all the others. Neff was right about that. This is just the beginning.
Have Markley call up Barry and get a conversation going. Find a number that's reasonable.
Arthur, for Pete's sake! What are you trying to do to me? You want to wipe me out?
We have to get this off the table.
Every penny I put by in the last 7 years, I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was a sure thing. No, miss, why work for Von Sashaki when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one? Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
Charlie, things have changed.
Do this, and that's the end.
You're stepping down?
Not me.
Oh.
Don't you know? They're one vote away from getting rid
And
of you.
whose vote is that, Charlie?
Arthur, have you so little faith in me?
I'm still a stockholder. You don't have enough votes to get me off the board. I will still be on the board.
And still on the hook if this company goes under. Think about that the next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928. To Raymond Barry, attorney at law, from Edward Markley, counsel, U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict, which makes it impossible for him to testify in April. We therefore have requested an extension until June. As per your request for a settlement, every case involves some humanitarian aspect. That therefore cannot be the basis for settling this one. But I have no doubt you'll be rewarded for the good work you're doing. If not in this world, then in the next.
Tommy, please.
Rise and shine.
Madam Curie,
Time for work.
am I late? I set the alarm.
We have 5,000 dials to make before breakfast. Up, up, up. It's all for the art effort.
Please, I'm so very tired.
No complaining. Good soldiers don't complain.
But I'm dying.
And who isn't? Get up, Grace.
Irene, get up, sleepyhead. You'll never make quota like this. It's not fair. I'm only 26. I should be married. I should have kids, my own home.
We all have to make sacrifices sometimes. I know I did.
But why? Why do we make sacrifices?
It's all for science, Grace. Science, family, every life is sacrificed for something. It's just a matter of choosing which.
But I didn't choose. I didn't have a choice.
Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did.
Catherine, don't do that. Catherine.
Well, look what you know. Get out, Grace. She's bleeding all over the dials.
I'm sorry, Catherine. I guess I shouldn't have said anything.
No problem. What's one more than dial meter?
Riley? About Catherine. She said she might stop by. Did she come?
She might have.
Well, don't you know?
Someone came to the door a while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you've got to get ready.
I took Catherine back to the hospital last night.
I know, dear. I know. After we talk to Mr. Markley, we'll go visit her. Now put a comb through that hair.
I dreamt she died.
Grace, don't say such things.
Well, if she dies, it's over.
We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace.
I know that.
You can't let this go on.
$1,500? It's not even a year's wages.
Well, it's better than nothing, ain't it?
It's all I'm worth to you. Better than nothing.
Of course not, sweetheart. But we gotta get realistic. At the rate things are going, you'll never get into that courthouse. And even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctor, the bank, the coal man. We can't expect people to treat us like charity just because you're sick.
I'm not asking for charity, Ma. I want what's owed to me.
I know you feel like you're letting Catherine down. But if she decided to take the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't now. We'll take the check and pay all the bills from what's ever left you and Tommy can have. Something to get you started.
There's nothing to start, Mom.
Why do you gotta be so hard on Tommy?
Mom, please don't.
Can't you see, Grace? Tommy can't imagine you not being here with us.
I have to. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Well, I can't imagine. No point to it. Mom, you didn't tell me I had mail. Mexico. What? They just keep writing. She was here. Mom, Miss Riley was here. She left me a note.
Miss Fryer, Edward Markley.
Ma said you brought papers.
Yes, the terms spelled out as we agreed in our letter. $1,500 to you. I've got a check right here. All I need is your signature. It's in triplicate.
Grace, Mr. Markley's a very busy man.
Oh no, please, take your time. If you prefer, I can leave it and come back tomorrow.
No, we'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
You agreed to hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits.
Correct.
Is that just me or anybody else in the family?
It includes your entire family. It precludes a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
Yes.
You didn't say nothing about it being confidential.
That's standard for most legal agreements. We like to protect our privacy. And yours also. It cuts both ways. We agree to keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do you.
That seems fair.
Need a pet?
I have a question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the settlement to you.
Ma, I don't mind. What is contributory negligence, Mr. Markley? No, it wasn't in that one. It was in the other papers you signed when we did the lawsuit. It says the Radium Company's defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I'm not sure what you're asking, Miss Fryer.
It means it's our fault, doesn't it?
It's a standard defense. I wouldn't take it personally.
Well, how else can I take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace had an awful headache all day.
Maybe he can just answer the question.
Why are you doing this?
Why did you tell me Miss Riley was here?
You already made up your mind. She just tried to change it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, I'll take them papers.
Mom, what did she say about Catherine?
She said it don't look too good.
Maybe I should come back later when Miss Fryer is feeling better.
You didn't answer my question, Mr. Markley, and I'd really like an answer. Because let me tell you, I quit school when I was 15. I went to work at the Radium Company because my folks needed the money. My folks didn't raise me to make trouble, so I didn't. I did what I was told, and I never asked questions. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
As I said, it's a standard defense.
There's nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, but there is no evidence to tie your condition to any actions by the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
A humanitarian gesture?
Mr. Markley, I'll take them papers.
Humanitarian? Month after month you put us off, delay after delay, knowing how sick we were, how tired, how desperate. Humanitarian? You were waiting for us to die.
Grace, stop this now.
Ma, one by one, I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible way. And you think I should be grateful for any spare change they throw at me?
Miss Fryer, this is a very generous offer under the circumstances. I would advise you to take it, because it won't be on the table very long.
What do you mean?
If Miss Fryer does not sign within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw our offer. Permanently.
Grace.
He's lying.
I beg your pardon, miss.
You're trying to tell me that if I don't sign these papers now, but I come back a week from now and say I've changed my mind, you'd still rather me go to court. You'd still rather some judge take a look at me and take your chances? I won't want in sympathy alone. 24 hours. You're just trying to bully me.
Very well then, Miss Fryer, I'll take that for a no, and I'll see you in court.
Yes, you will. You will see me in court. If they have to carry me in, you will see me. You're Mr. Reader, both!
Grace, call that man back.
Mom, going to court.
What are you trying to prove? You know you can't win.
I want them to look at me. I want them to tell me how it's my fault. How I got sick working in their factory.
And what would that get you? What?
Mom, all my life, I've done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you said I should. I put that brush to my mouth because Miss McNeil said I should. And I never said, Ma, can I please finish school? I never said I don't like the taste of that pain. I never argued. Even though I knew, Ma, I knew something wasn't right. At night, I'd lie in bed. I'd see my dress hanging on the back of the closet door, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush and comb on the dresser. So much light, Ma, so much light. And I never once questioned. I never once asked. Don't you see? They knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
So it is you making all the stories.
I left messages with your housekeeper. I know you got the messages.
If you're no longer in business together, I thought it's best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves?
You never told us that paper is dangerous. Not me, not Dan.
I did not know.
How can you lie like that? You invented the painting. You didn't know.
I did not know until it was too late, Otto.
I should put you through that wall.
Perhaps you should, but you will not. You will sit down, you will have some tea, and you will calm yourself.
I wasn't the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was a technical man. Sit down, Otto.
I was a salesman, for God's sake. I sold watches.
Very good for that. Very good head for the business you have. Not such a good head for the science, but for the business. Very smart. Always you can find ways to cut the cost without losing the quality. That is a gift, Otto. So, have some tea.
Jesus, what happened to your hands?
It has been that way for some time.
Have you been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink? How fond of the pretty story you are. If only it's for ink. No. Dr. Martin tells me it's a necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they're dying. With the Dow printers, in the jar it started. With me in the hand.
But I have no idea.
No reason why you shouldn't. It has been a long time since I've seen you.
How long has it?
But I've known for a while. Miss Violet from the Consumers League persuaded me to assist Dr. Martin in testing the Dow painters for radium exposure. There aren't that many people around, you know, who can measure that kind of thing. So she came to me, knowing I had the equipment and of course the skill. I did not believe her either, Arta. I did not want to believe the crews could get sick from working with my paint. I wanted to assure it was a mistake. So I agreed to help Dr. Martin. I conducted experiment tests on the girls. It was then I found out that my own breath registered radioactive. Then my fingers, they began to turn black. No, you wish to have words with me?
I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps now you should make an appointment yourself with Dr. Martin.
Pete, what for?
Atza, you did not notice the glowing dust in your shoes when you went home last night?
How could I miss it? I tracked it all over the house.
You can be sure that a good deal of it is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
Why, it's our promotional piece.
Excellent promotion. How many new sales did that book account for?
I didn't track it exactly, but I like to think it helped quite a bit with our medical market.
Page 96.
What?
Open it. The last chapter. Read it to me.
Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. How many articles do you have listed there? 10, 15?
About 18, it looks like.
How far back did they go?
I don't know.
Look at it. There. What is the date?
1906.
1906. Now, let me see. When you go to court, you plan to testify that you had no idea radium was dangerous. How do you plan to do that, Ata? When your own book says that it was. How can you claim that you did not know?
I never really read the book.
What's that?
I never really read the book. Outside company prepared the piece. I didn't make any of the content. It was Mr. Lee was in charge of that part. I just glanced at it as it came off the galleys. I never read the book.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard agreement. An outside company prepared the piece, and they were responsible for the content.
Which you never read.
I think you will find, Mr. Mayor, that very few company presidents read their own promotional materials word for word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the book's release, and you had final approval of the content.
Mr. Lee was in charge of those activities at the time. I entrusted our promotional efforts to him.
Now, Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918.
Yes, as plant manager.
And you held that position for how long?
4 years.
During those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have observed the girls putting brushes to their mouths.
I don't recall.
So you're saying you went to the studio every single day, and you never saw a single girl put a brush to their mouth?
I said I don't recall.
You don't recall? What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're not the young man to have such a faulty memory.
Objection!
I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley.
We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, gentlemen, please approach. I am ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor, we've yet to present our defense.
I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this hearing is to determine standing. Now, I've heard enough these past few days to make that determination. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their system. Nothing that your witnesses can say will change that fact, will it?
They're prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the danger.
Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I am asking that the defense rest without calling up any further witnesses. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
Fine. I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted, and these girls have standing to sue.
Your Honor, one thing. I have a very full schedule of 2 other cases pending, and a key expert witness of ours can't be available until the end of summer. He can't be available until September.
Your Honor!
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but he's associated with an institute of higher learning. This is the busiest time of year for him, and I cannot expect him to appear.
Mr. Markley is the one responsible for that situation. He is the one who demanded continuous delays.
Your Honor, we've just agreed to waive our right to present defense at this hearing. Surely you're not forced us to go to trial without the presence of our key witness.
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
My kids flew with you.
He's going to Europe.
But Europe, he's known about this for months. Why would... Oh, very clever. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley?
Mr. Barry, congratulations. I never knew
You know full well these girls can't wait until September. One is so ill she can't appear in court.
My client has a right to make his defense.
We will not wait until September. I promise you that. One way or another, we will find him on the docket, and your expert witness will be damned.
Edward, that girl is staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She thinks it's personal that I caused this somehow. How do I make her see that I didn't want any of this to happen?
You don't talk to her. You don't make her understand.
But she looks like death, Edward.
They all look like that, Arthur.
Right? That man was wrong. He won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. He just looks right past me like I'm not even there. It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
June 4th, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the Ledger.
Raymond Barry seeks trial date for early summer.
While U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement.
A settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl, and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week?
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source for news.
The company also agrees to pay for the medical expenses of each girl for the remainder of her life, and the girls have agreed to submit to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Is it an admission of responsibility?
What about other pending cases?
It was purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation agreed to the settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The company is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to a close and looks forward to serving its customers and its community. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley, the New Jersey Consumers League. Our press statement.
Were you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
Finally, these poor girls got some compensation for their suffering. But more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to public awareness.
Thanks, Miss Wiley.
And that's Wiley with one L and Catherine with a K.
Well, Edward, looks like we're back in business.
What's your plan?
Did I tell you? I've got a bind for the tailings I've been piling up behind that building on Eldon Street.
Oh,
Some contractor at Montclair needs a little more infill.
that's perfect.
Now, Catherine, we can't hardly see your name. That's better. Well, Catherine, I brought my watercolors today. Such a beautiful day, too. The trees are starting to turn, and the breeze is still warm. Too warm for a sweater. It's a fine day to paint.
Fine, I find you up here.
Right?
It's quiet up here.
Yep,
Well, I suppose if you can rest in peace, this is the place to do it, huh?
I guess it is.
Oh, what do you call that?
Watercolors. I'm a little weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
No, Grace, it's good. It's nice.
First thing I bought with my settlement money was some paints, some oils, too.
Big spender.
Then I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
Oh, I can't. My brother drove me. He's going to teach me.
But Grace, if you want to learn how to drive, well, I teach you.
You've got other things to do now, Tommy.
You know about that?
Tommy, orange just isn't that big.
Well, I meant to tell you myself.
It's all right, Tommy. I'm happy for you. For both of you.
No hard feelings, though?
Do you think I have time for that?
You are glad. Well, I mean, you don't feel like you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They did. Papa?
It was over here.
Oh, not this again.
This is where I saw her for the last time.
This is morbid, Papa.
I stood there for a long time, and she didn't notice me at first. But then something made her look up.
Oh my. No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. If this is how you spend your Sundays.
I saw her looking at me, and I looked away.
Just like at the courthouse. He couldn't bring himself to look at me.
You need to find another hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
For all those years, I had wondered what I would say to her if I got the chance, and suddenly there she was. I had the chance.
So what did you say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It's as if he's afraid to look at me.
I had my chance, and I couldn't speak.
He's afraid of me.
Oh, Papa, that was years ago. Why don't you just forget about it? Nobody knew about things like that then. Science just wasn't advanced the way it is now.
I think back on those days, and I try to remember, how could it have happened? I can remember so clearly climbing the stairs at that studio at Alden Street. Those wide high windows at the top of the stairs, and the light, the way it hit the floor, the way that the floor creaked under my feet, and the smell of the place, chalky, like an old schoolroom. And all those girls, schoolgirls really, all bent to the task, working so hard. No man could work the way that those girls did. The brushes fly from the paint to the dyes, to the paint, to their lips. But try as I might, Harry, try as I might, I can't remember their faces. I never saw their faces.